it's Ina the Mood Reader, and welcome to Instagram Followers Control My TBR. Okay, so guys, if you have been following me on my Instagram, I'll post my handle here. You have probably seen my series of stories where I ask my Bookstagram followers to pick among the books that I'll be reading for the last few days of the weekathon. And this was supposed to be a week-long reading vlog, but this week has been very busy and I haven't been able to read much. Just trying to finish my two pending books, which is The Vampires of Portlandia and The Never Tilting World. But I'm planning to do a challenge wherein I'll be doing for the first time ever a 24-hour reading challenge, and I have 4 books to go through, and they are actually all quite thin except for this one. So here's hoping that from tonight, August 28th till tomorrow, I'll be able to meet my goals. So yeah, even though I still have to work tonight. So at the moment, the time is 3:38. So I'll be ending this self-readathon 24-hour reading challenge for myself tomorrow at around 4 o'clock, so in the afternoon. So yeah, and I'll be sharing with you guys the results of those stories that I posted and the books that I'll be reading for the next 24 hours. So first off, I asked people to choose from Bola Bola by Ana Heronga and Chocolate Chip Hips by Agay Lianera, and this one won. So I'm so excited about this one. I've been raving about it on the last video. So yeah, I'll be reading this one, and I'm planning on reading this first because I've been looking for something light since I've been like balancing 2 fantasy books. So yeah, I'll be reading this one. I asked people to choose from Save the Cake and Cover Story Girl, and the winner is Save the Cake. So I'll be reading this book by Stella Torres. So I'll be reading 2 books that with food as topics, and this one is fairly short as well. So I am very hopeful about this. And then next, I asked people to choose from Bone Talk by Candy Gurley and Anina ng Mga Alon. And Anina ng Mga Alon won by a landslide on this one. So yeah, I'll be reading this one as well. Also very short. And this one is also written in Tagalog. So this one is a sariling wika. This one fits the sariling wika prompt as well. And last but not the least, this one might be the most challenging among these 4 books because it's about almost 300 pages long. I asked people to choose from 2 Bob Ong books. First is Lumayo Ka Nga Sa Akin, or Don't Come Near Me, or Go Away, but that. And then this one, 56 or 56 by Bob Ong, and this one won as well. So I'll be reading this one too. And I'm so excited to read these 4 books, and I'll be bringing you along. I might not I won't be able to promise to record everything because, as you know, I'm not really that creative and my reading spot is really not that cute. So yeah, but I'll be talking to you guys every time I finish a book or I hit a milestone so that I can talk to you and share my thoughts about the books. So yeah, enjoy the video! Hey everyone, it's Ina, and I'm just here to give you guys a short update. Right now it's about 9:45 p.m. and I haven't read anything yet because when I checked on Instagram after I filmed the intro for this video, somebody liked my post, and it's Walang Tulugan Readathon, which means no sleep readathon, and it's a 24-hour readathon that's hosted by Polly Book Tales and That Bookish Teacher. I'll link their socials down below, and It's a 24-hour readathon where you will read Filipino authored books, and that's exactly what I'll be doing. So I decided to push back starting um, my 24-hour readathon. So instead of 4 p.m., I'll be joining them and starting at 12 midnight instead. But my TBR would remain the same. I'll still be reading those 4 books, and if ever I get extra time, I'll also be reading other books. But for now, since I have 2 hours left, I'll just be finishing The Never Tilting World by Rincho Pecco. So I'll check on you guys later. Hey everyone, good morning. It's 8 a.m. right now, I think. But I woke up around like 6, I guess, and I slept last night, I think around 3. So we are operating on 3 hours of sleep, thus this eye bags. So last night I took part in the Walang Tulugan Readathon. It's still ongoing until 11:59 p.m. later on tonight. But I would just like to send you guys some updates on my TBR, and I've already finished chocolate chip hips. As you can see, I hope you can see it, but I have a few tabs here on what the story is about, and I was really motivated by the sprints organized by Polly Booktails, and I think she was the host that was awake at that time. So she had a I think 2 30-minute sprints for extra raffle entries on the giveaways that they will be having. And this one, don't be fooled by the cute cover. It actually discusses a serious theme. It talks about struggles of weight, being a plus size person, from fat phobia, from bullying. There's also like family problems. There's dealing with the death of a parent when you're still very young, and also her relationship with her dad. There's also like a little romancy thing here, but this is very like contemporary realistic fiction YA, so romance is not really like the focal point of the book, but self-love, self-care, and I relate so much on the themes of the book because our main character Jessica, or Jessie, has been struggling with managing her weight. She tries this fad diets with her dad, but they own a bake shop and they also love food very much. But of course, you have to remember as well as the health concerns included in obesity or being overweight. And I too have struggled with that since I was in grade school. I've been bullied about it. I used to not feel good about myself, though I wasn't really that heavy or fat at that time. Like, I reached my biggest weight like maybe 2 years ago or 1 year ago.
But that was the moment where I feel most like myself. Like I didn't want to be pressured anymore with fad diets and taking all those uso weight management um things and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, as you can see, I've most of the tabs that I marked here are the lines that hit me the most, wherein I saw myself when I was like in that age and what I've been feeling about myself. But so yeah, this has many like triggering thoughts if you're a plus size person dealing with weight struggles. So I'm not sure if I can recommend it for everyone, especially those in the same um mindset. It can, if you are struggling with keeping positive on how you see yourself, this book might open up some thoughts that you had before and might trigger you to go back. So I don't know if this book will be healthy for everyone in the plus size community, but um, it was a journey. Towards the latter part of the book it gets better, but at the start there are many triggering points, so I would just like to get it out there. So yeah, and then I also started listening to The Land of Forgotten Girls by Erin Entrada Kelly. I was my Scribd app like has very limited access now to audiobooks, and I can't access Erin and Charlotte Kelly reads there, but Kat from her bookish side suggested Any Play FM. It's an app also where you can listen to audiobooks, and I tried using it. Unfortunately, I'm not liking the interface so much. I hate that I can't change the pace where I can listen to the book. Unlike when I listen to via script, I listen to like 2 times the speed, but here you just have to go with what was really the pace of the narrator. And the narrator is quite slow, but it's a 5-hour read, so I listened like to the first hour of it while I was playing some games on my phone, just so I can relax a bit after reading a book. Now, when I woke up this morning, I started reading Bagay Tayo by Jerry B. Grasho. I know it's not on the TBR, but like it was still dark and I wasn't in the mood to turn on my um reading light, which is just my ring light. So um it's a PDF copy that the author gave away for free on Twitter. It's still there. I'll try to link the tweet below if you want to read Bagay Tayo and Hindi Bagay. So I'll be finishing that. I think that's also a short read. I'll be finishing that this morning before I start on Save the Cake, which is the book that's really a part of my TBR. So yeah, thank you everyone. I'll update you again later.
It's Ina, I'm back. I forgot to send you guys some updates throughout the day on the Walang Tulugan Readathon, and I have finished 6 books already, and I still have 2 books left on my original TBR for the day, but um, actually, I still have 3 books. I'm halfway through Anina ng Mga Alon, and then I have Save the Cake and 56 by Bob Ong still to read, because I was trying to at least read a lot of books today. So after reading Choco Chip Hips, I read Bagay Tayo by Jerry B. Grasho. No holds barred, no hidden anything, like love in its truest and purest sense. I admire the author for just staying real and staying true to their story, all the good parts and the bad parts. The writing style was like in the midst of casual and formal, meaning like I felt he was just talking to a friend, but in a way where the use of the Filipino language is deeper than conversational Filipino. And I have to admit that I don't know much about the author, but because of this book, I would like to research more on his works, even in media, in movies and TV shows, just so to feel like I know him more. I also plan on reading Hindi Bagay by the same author, but I'm not sure if it would still fit within the time frame that I have today. And then, I read first is Ang Hari ng Commute. This is just a short, like traditional panel style, like very short, like delivering a story in 6 panels. So yeah, and I love the art style. I love how it brought me to my what it was like when I was still commuting and working a little farther from home, especially when I was commuting like from Pasig to Las Piñas every day. So like that's about 2 to 3 hours per way, and it reminded me of the times when I collected bus tickets and other similar moments like that. And after that, I read Sandali by Mikey Jimenez and Maggie Marchan, and this one is a compilation of 5 or 6 stories. I'm not sure. I'll try to correct myself here, somewhere there. And it's just a very real reflection on the lives of people from different walks of life, from different situations, and the struggles that they encounter day by day. So I'm not sure why Sandali is the title of the graphic novel, but for me it's like a Sandali is a short period of time. So like in my opinion, it's like a short glimpse on the lives of these people. And I loved all of the stories, but the one that stuck to me the most is the last one. And the last one actually like took my heart in its hands and squeezed it. And now for the last book that I have finished so far today, oh no, I forgot. Aside before I go through with this one, I actually listened to the audiobook of The Land of Forgotten Girls by Erin Entrada Kelly. You know how much I love Erin Entrada Kelly's works. This is her third work that I read this month, and I listened to it through AnyPlay, and I just finished it a few hours earlier, and I can say that this is not my favorite Erin Entrada Kelly work. For some reason, I didn't connect to the girls in the story as much as I loved the mention of fairy tales and the dynamics between the two sisters. I don't know, there's something in the story that wasn't my cup of tea, I guess. So it's still a good book, and Erin really writes perfect middle grade fiction, but I felt like I loved You Go First and Hello Universe more. But it's still a good read anyway. So yeah, and then this one is Lirio, and this one is the most I guess it's the heaviest among these 3 graphic novels that I have read. This one tackles extrajudicial killings, the war on drugs of this administration. I was actually hopeful on the ending of this book, but oops, sorry, it might spoil you a little, but it hurt. The ending hurt. Like, I know the story that was told in this graphic novel is the story of hundreds, I hope not thousands, of people who lost their loved ones because of this war on drugs. And yeah, it just like opened up to me how powerless I am, I guess, on these matters, and how privileged we are, like living in this little bubble in my life, and how privileged I am. But it's time to like stop embracing this privilege and like do more and care more for the people. And yeah, so this one is a little heavy, but of course I appreciate the art styles of all of these creators, and I hope that comics and graphic novels, like art in the Philippines, would be more appreciated by mainstream consumers and readers, because we have very amazing artists, really talented and really skilled. We have amazing storytellers that deserve all the hype. So I do hope that like Anino Comics from Adarna House would pick up more titles created by our artists and creators. So yeah, again, I'll be updating you guys if I'm not too sleepy later at 12 after the readathon ends. But if I'm too sleepy by then, I'll update you tomorrow. So yeah, see ya! Hello, I would just like to give you guys an update on the Walang Tulugan Readathon that happened on August 29, and I was supposed to give you guys the update like immediately after it ended on 11:59 p.m. But I felt so drained because on the last sprint, like the last 2 hours of the readathon, I really like focused on speed reading. I don't know, maybe it's the Leo in me, like the competitive person in me that wanted to win, like the shopping spree that they promised. So like I was so drained after, especially considering that I ended up reading 14 books in 24 hours. Like what? That's crazy. And well, of course, this like half of these books are just short graphic fiction books, and I also read poetry books and some short novels, like novella types of books. But I don't know, I was so drained. But yeah, I would just like to give you guys the last run through of the books that I read. So first is Save the Cake. This is the romance class title that I read for the Walang Tulugan Readathon, and unfortunately this was just like an okay read for me. I love romance class titles, but for some reason this was just like a little meh. I don't know how to describe it. Like it's nice, it's good. I don't know. For some reason, like I think maybe the writing style wasn't what I prefer in the romance books that I read. But it's still cute, and I plan on reading the other cover sisters of this one. Maybe I'm not like discouraging anyone to read this. Maybe it's your style, it's your type of romance, but it's just an okay read for me. So I rated it 3 stars. And then I also read Anina ng Mga Alon. As you can see, this is also a very thin book. This book is in a novel format, a story format, but there are lots of songs, so technically it reads like poetry. There's also a lot of words in the dialect of the Badjaus, which Anina, the main character of this book, belongs to this ethnic group. So, but I love that this glossary explains the terms used throughout the book, because there are like the musical instruments or the dances that they use. For example, there's agung, which is the gong of the Badjaus. There's also junkun.
I think, or hunkun, which is their boat that they used for fishing and other terms like that. Because this book shows the culture of the Badjaus, and like their beginnings. They live in the sea. They spend all of their lives in the sea, and Anina actually was born not on sea but on land, and because of that she was scared of the disconnect, that she may not be one with the waves like all the rest of the Badjaus. um, so this book has discussions of self-identity in your culture, in your beliefs, and then there's also like a short stint where she goes to regular school and she experiences, the discrimination. Because to be honest, like real talk here, um, Filipinos like have this bias towards people from Manila. Like they're better. They think these people from Manila are better than people from the provinces. And I didn't know that people from the provinces, like those in the city or in more progressive places, also look down on people in more provincial areas, or people who live a different way of life, like the Badjaus, because they live fully in the sea. They focus on fishing and harvesting pearls and in corals and like that. So they study there, they get married there, just they live their entire life staying in the community. And so not everyone, like there you are the unique person if you go to like traditional school compared to the rest of the community. So yeah, and then this book also discussed like how the war, because all of us Filipinos know that there are conflicts in Mindanao, maybe because of the land or the culture or of course the water, that just like territorial fights and disagreements, as well as like cultural differences and fights between leaders of different communities. So all of those factors or themes were expressed here in the book Anina ng Mga Alon. And then aside from that, I also read an advanced reader's copy that I got from a friend, Reina Regina. Reina just recently posted about her new poetry book, Please Pick Me. And I don't know, she was very sweet to send me a copy for reading. So I read that for the Walang Tulugan Readathon, but of course I breezed through it. But I have always loved the way Reina writes. Like even in her Instagram captions, you already know how she is creative with the words that she uses. And she's also like a reviewer for Fully Books First Look Club, and I know I have read some of her reviews already. And I was so happy to know that she wrote like a creative book. So yeah, this is poetry that like she has written through the years. So there's like growth in this book. There's some haikus, and there's some prose, and there's also some poetry. So yeah, and like different stages of life. The book is separated into like 4 or 5 different themes, and all of them revolve around like love for oneself and to your family, to people around you. There's like happy parts of love and sad parts of love, and like self-care and all of that. And I never really like know how to review poetry books because people interpret them differently, but I love the way that Reina writes. I love the poems, and I don't know what else to say about it because I am planning on doing a reread of it, but looking at each poem in a like more deeper, relaxed, chill way. And then I also read another poetry book. This one is by Don Lanuza, and the reason why I picked this because it was just 62 pages unscripted, and I was like planning on reaching my targets for like I was
I was thinking first of finishing a 12 books, but I don't know. I just like, let's push it a little more. So I picked that. And this one is This Is How It Starts by Don Lanuza. I have talked about her other book, What About the Day? And also I talked about Stay a Little Longer Here. And I love those books. But this one, I think, was written when she was a bit younger. So some of the poetry wasn't like, I don't know, I think they were like too juvenile for me, or like too inexperienced, I guess. I have loved her current works, but this one is not like, not just it. Some of the poems I like, but most of them weren't did not like pass my standards, simply put. So for This Is How It Starts, I think I'm rating it 2 to 3 stars. I have to think about it more, but yeah. And then I also read these 3 books. So yeah, I also read this one. So 1201. So yeah, I think this readathon, I like focused on reading all the graphic novels that I got from Adarna and Visprint. So as you can see, for the first time in like ever, I actually read a book that I bought like within a month of buying them. So yay me. But first, let's talk about this one. So 1201 actually shares like the same artist with Trece. So this one is by Russell Molina and Cajo or Cajo Baldissimo, and this one is like is set in, I think, martial law era where there is curfew, and that's why 1201 is the title of the graphic novel. And this one is a story of a band that was caught during curfew because of a gig, I think, and it has beautiful art. And yeah, it just showed what it was like during martial law. And there are also song lyrics here. Of course, I'm very open in discovering more about it, like reading more martial law fiction or non-fiction, and this one was a good like starter for that. And the nice part about this is it has like a short overview on like what EDSA people power was and what happened that time. And yeah, so this was a good read. I enjoyed reading the book and I like the art style. So yeah, the last 3 books that I read is Trece number 2. So that's Unreported Murders. And then Trece number 5, which is Midnight Tribunal, I don't know. And then Stories from the Diabolical. So these two both have Alexandra Trece, this crime, like paranormal crime investigator, detective, the Kambal, who is like her sidekicks, and then different Filipino mythological creatures like Tekbalang, Duwende, or like, Kapre. I don't know their English versions, but please do look on them because the Philippines has a really nice like folklore mythology characters and stories. So yeah. So again, it also has a nice art, and I love like discovering what Trece was about, because I remembered like the time when people are so crazy about these books and I wasn't able to grab a copy because I was like a broke college student or something. So yeah, it's nice. I don't know where I can get to find the other Trece books, because I want to start like from the first one. And I'm not sure if the Tagalog comics available are like really the same editions, or are those like extra stories in the Trece universe. I think I have to read
on the blog of the creators of this one, so to really get the grasp, because I did understand some of this story, and I like the pop culture references here, like in the names. They play around with the names of the characters, and they also played around their looks. They actually look like the characters that they have a similar name too. So I want to like have all of the books so that I could really understand what's happening in the Tressa series. And then lastly, I read the Tressa stories from the Diabolical. This one gives like emphasis on Hank the bartender in the Diabolical. And this one has a different approach compared to the other two books. So I'll show you a sample. So the writing is like this. So, and then the like words are written like a novel in prose. So yeah, it's a different style. It's not really like a comic strip style compared to this one. Of course, I'm rating the Tresse series 5 stars each, because as much as like I have no idea about the names of the most of the characters or their backstories, I still enjoyed reading Filipino fantasy and knowing more about it. And I really appreciate like the amazing storyline and the amazing art style of the creators of Trece. I think it would be perfect if these books have like a full colored copy. But yeah, if you have like leads on where I could buy Trece 1, 3, 4, and like the rest of the other Trece novels, please do comment down below or message me. If you have one and you're planning to sell it, then please do message me so that I can complete my Trece collection. So yeah, I ended up the Walang Tulugan Readathon with 14 reads. Who is she? Like, what did she do? How was she able to read that, like, and operate on like 4 hours of sleep and work as well on that day? I don't know. So like, actually, because of it, I have no plans of reading for the rest of Sunday. I don't know if I could get to finish my my weekathon goals, because I still have the Never Tilting World unread. I also have the Vampires of Portlandia unread. So I don't know if I'll be able to finish those two books. I've even left Tablay and Patron Saints of Nothing hanging. Oh no, and they were like my most anticipated reads for the weekathon. So as you can see, I'm really like a mood reader through and through. I wasn't able to like commit on the books that I wanted to read, but I hope I'm trying to like capture I don't know. I'm planning on like getting to read these books soon. Maybe on the next month. I'm not sure yet. But yeah. So thank you so much for watching until the end of this video. I know this is quite a long one because I talked about 14 books. Can you imagine? So thank you so much for watching. I would also like to thank Polly Booktails and That Bookish Teacher for organizing the Walang Tulugan Readathon, because if they didn't do it, I would probably have read nothing for the weekend. It was a nice, competitive, friendly setup. I loved how everybody was so active on the Instagram group chats. Like, I know we don't know each other personally, and we used to not like interact too much on Instagram, but this readathon gave us like a way to connect with each other, give recommendations, and because of that, actually, the creators have decided to do this monthly, and I'm so excited to know about the next themes that they're planning. And of course, I'll be participating on those readathons, but I don't think that I'll commit as hard as I did today for this August weekathon. But who knows, maybe in the future. But again, I would like to thank the organizers of this readathon and everybody who joined. And yeah,
Will I ever be able to read the same amount of books in a day? Of course, maybe. So again, thank you everyone. See you on my socials. Comment down below your thoughts, your recommendations, and what else, anything that you would like to know. So thank you, and see you guys on the next video. Bye!